Hey everybody, Jesse Reed here with Dropout Entertainment. We are here with Kailan McGee. Kailan, how's your day going?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Mine's great. Mine's great. You've got some
Good.
very exciting things coming up here. You got a new album coming out. Do we want to just
Right.
jump right in, talk about the album?
Sure. Okay, so this album it was kind of like an imaginative exercise in songwriting for me because I've been previously used to drawing on personal experience for songwriting and kind of letting that out and having that emotional kind of outlet through that. But this album, I really wanted to test my imagination and see what I could do. So I picked a place that was the Black Forest in southwestern Germany, where lots of people have claimed to see lots of mythological creatures, etc. there. So I figured this would be a cool place to develop some characters. So I looked at some photos of the Black Forest online, and that kind of set the tone for my imagination. And from there, I made mind maps about the characters and the stories and the overlaps I wanted to see throughout the songs. And yeah, it was kind of born from there. And I've decided to call it Lady of the Moon. And rather than having songs like song numbers, I'm using moon phases for the track titling. So there's 8 songs for 8 moon phases, and they're all pretty epic. So I'm pretty excited.
That's incredible. And yeah, so it's launching on April 1st, which
Yeah.
you planned that around your favorite full moon, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, April 1st is the full pink moon, so it will come out on that date, which is very exciting for me.
I love it. Like I love all of the symbolism already going into this.
Oh,
Yeah, and
thank you.
I know that you had mentioned that this isn't just songs put together. You built out the characters, you built out all this lore, everything yourself. How
Mhm.
was the experience of just really diving that deep into the subject?
So much fun. I felt like I was like taking a class on my own subject matter because I was just like writing out so many notes frantically. Like my husband would come home and I'd be sitting on the floor cross-legged with like a mad scientist, just like notes all around me. And he'd be like, "What is happening here?" And I'd be like, "I have this cool character idea for a siren and I wrote it today." And so I went completely crazy with it. There was no limit to what I would go to for this album, and I'm just so excited to give it to the world.
I love that. I love that. And when you were first stumbling across some of these stories from, a forest all the way in Germany, did you immediately think like this is something I want to turn into an album, or where was that kind of turning point?
Well, yes, I did, but the inspiration for the album sparked because a child in one of my previous classes, I don't know if you know, the first single that I released was called The Legend of the Wild Moon, and it was a child in one of my previous classes who was like, "Have you heard of The Legend of the Wild Moon?" And I was like, "No, but like tell me everything because that sounds so cool." So this whole album sparked from a child's imagination, and then as soon as I had that song, I was like, "You know what? I'm going to build an album around this." And then I decided the destination and then I decided everything else from there. So you never know where inspiration is going to strike. It's very funny.
No kidding. Yeah, that's incredible. And yeah, you mentioned that it was very different writing this album, with it being stories that are not so personal.
Right.
Can you kind of run us through the difference in what goes through your mind as you're writing these songs when you are writing something directly based off of your life experience versus something like this based off mythology?
Okay, so when I'm writing like a very personal song, like a song about grief or loss, or like any sort of heartbreak or any situation that's made me feel any emotion intensely, I just reach for my guitar and I just kind of let it come out of me. And it's kind of just a very natural experience that way. And I always kind of treated music as therapy before this point in my life. So starting to write something that was completely out of my imagination, like I said, it was just a real test for me. And that's always what I'm trying to do. I'm only ever trying to be in competition with myself. I'm only ever trying to do something better than I did the last time and know that I'm trying to open new doors and explore other avenues because that's what it's all about. Once you master one thing, you have to move on to another and you have to try and explore what you're capable of as a writer too, right?
Oh, I love that way of looking at it. That is yeah, no, that's such a kind of empowering way to look at your own work as well.
Aw, that's so nice.
And yeah, so your debut album, the song's just Empire,
Mm,
epic in a very different way, right? This had so many songs on it. This was a double release here.
yeah.
Yeah, let's go back and talk about that first release and putting out all of that music at once. How was that experience?
That it was kind of natural for me too, because as soon as I released one, I was just like, okay, like, and then I just had this waterfall come out of me and I didn't know where to stop. And it's like a multi-format album too, where it wasn't a strategic move for me by any means, but it definitely got me noticed on folk radio, on country radio, on dance radio, on alternative radio. And it, a lot of people were like, was that a strategy? And I was like, no, these songs decided their own genres as they came out of me. Like it was just the feeling of the music that I made. And then they just kind of sat where they sat and I didn't know when to stop. I had more and I was like, no, now is the time. 21 is too much
21's the limit.
already. Yeah, so that album was very fun for me to write in a different way just because it was just so like, all right, it's out of me now. Then I could close that chapter too, which also just felt so empowering in a different way as well.
Amazing, amazing. And yeah, you mentioned that like it got on the radio in all these different genres, but not
Mhm.
only did it get on the radio, a bunch of these songs charted from the album.
That's
How was
right.
that feeling of having, seeing that kind of reaction to your music as your debut album?
Unexpected, completely unexpected. I kind of thought maybe like my mom and my family would be like, I love this. This is great. But then when I started to see I was forming a connect with different audiences, I was blown away. And I mean, it took me off guard for sure, but I think that that's kind of a part of what every artist wants. You want to expand your audience, you want to connect, and when you write something that sits well with you and then it sits well with someone else too, you're like, my job is done here. You know what I mean?
Yes. And yeah, I know for artists too, just as you mentioned, that connection and knowing that something that you wrote and put out there did connect with somebody and, changed, maybe their day, maybe their week. Some songs change people's entire lives. Do you have any stories that people did come to you with, like, hey, this is how this song affected me?
Well, I think the thing that most took me back was I received a message from a girl in high school in the States, and she said, I just stumbled across your music, and I just want you to know, like, this made my whole day. This brought me to this sense of clarity where it was the song about the blue, which is track 5 on the Songstress' Empire. And that song was about uh just moving forward with depression, but also knowing that the only way through it is through it. And you kind of have to go hand in hand with those deep, dark feelings sometimes in order to push yourself through it. And she said that that song really touched her and it really got her in touch with her emotions. And I feel like to this day, that's still probably my favorite compliment that I've ever received from any song that I've ever written. So little things like that, you never know who's listening and who you can touch with your music.
I love that. That's yeah, that's a great story. And yeah, incredible to see that music does have the power to do that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great seeing how it affects the fans, and I know something. We're just talking, you're talking a little bit about depression, the mental health thing. That is something that I have found really does plague a lot of musicians and a lot of the music industry. Like this is it's a very hard thing to do, to put yourself out there, to be in this creative space, to be this vulnerable.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I've really loved your outlook on everything so far. I'm wondering if you got any advice for any musicians who kind of are having a hard time with their mental health and moving forward and, wanting to put more music out into the world.
Well, any advice that I could give to someone in that position would simply be that I'm not a huge fan of Ed Sheeran, his music in general, but something that he said was you can't have writer's block if you never stop writing. And that was something that, when someone says a certain string of words and it just sits with you a
Yep.
different way, that is one of the things that kind of sat with me. And anytime I felt, like I've said previously in this interview, any intense emotion that I ever felt, I put a pen to paper about it, and that is the way through it for me. So if you're struggling to write, maybe you're not putting a pen to a paper enough. Maybe you're not getting vulnerable with your emotions enough because once you're able to push past that and allow yourself complete vulnerability, then things will just come out of you that you don't even realize. It's kind of treating it like a medication. It's like I need to prescribe this to myself right now, and I need to set aside time because self-care for musicians is writing music. Self-care is putting yourself out there in that form. So any advice I would give to those people is keep a pen in your purse or your backpack or keep a notepad close and just get it out of you. And even if it doesn't turn into a song, it's still on paper. And that is a form of getting emotions out of you too.
Wonderful advice. Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's so true. Like that's getting things out of your system is such an important thing to do, and that is something especially as a songwriter that can turn into people's greatest songs sometimes. Something that you didn't even think was going to be a song, just a strong emotion can yeah, turn into something
For
really
sure,
beautiful
when
at the
we
end.
have that outlet, we should use it. Like we're lucky as musicians to have that creative outlet. So to use it is what we really need to do to get through those
Definitely,
hard times.
definitely. Amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna jump back into Lady of the Moon here.
Okay.
So yeah, we're launching, yeah, 8 songs coming out April 1st. Do you have
Mhm.
any plans for release shows, kind of anything going around this, music videos? What's coming along with the album here?
Well, so with the Songs versus Empire release, I did a video for each song, and it kind of grows a little bit tiring to do so much social media. And I've found that it kind of takes the creative energy away from myself. Whereas I could have written a song that day, but I spent 8 hours doing social media content instead, right?
Right.
And to me, I feel more rewarded when I put it into music. So for this album, I've taken a different approach and I painted a painting for each song on the album so I can create a lyric video around the painting so I could still allow myself that creative expression and also give the social media like the lyric videos and things that I can do there.
Yeah.
So I tried to find a way that there was a happy medium that I could be creative as well as do that.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. And yeah, these kind of paintings, can you give us some hints of what's coming up with them?
Okay. Well, I will tell you that the first track is called The Black Forest, and it is the introduction of the album. And I've painted all of these paintings, and they're all already on my social media. So anybody who wants to go take a look into what the paintings represent, you might be able to. I titled all the paintings the names of the songs, and some of them I even put up months ago. So if you take a look at the paintings, you'll be able to kind of see what some of the songs are about. There's one about a siren, there's one about a ghost. Um, so you can tell, you can go back and check even and see all the song titles already, which is something that I did for people who are diving deep into my material.
I love that. I love that. It gives people something excited about, some curiosity about what these songs are going to be about. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
How and yeah, is painting something you do a lot of? Is that yeah,
Yeah,
a
I
big
love
passion?
painting. I don't find I'm as good at it as I am songwriting, but it is something just a creative expression and another I usually paint what I write about too. So if you see a painting, you can be like, "Oh, she's probably writing about that right now." So it's all
I
kind
love
of
it.
connected in that way for me.
Telltale clues.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, and so yeah, you've got the album coming out. Lots of exciting stuff there. What about for the rest of the year here? Any big plans?
Well, I already have the album after this one written completely as well. So I have that one. I don't have that one studio demoed out yet, but that is completely written. I also have two other songs that don't fit on that record as well. Um, I've applied to some festivals and things. I have some shows coming up, but mostly I'm just excited to expand the creative process this year.
Awesome. Okay, next question. Do you ever sleep?
Yes, often and well. Yes, I do.
With all those songs coming out, that sounds yeah, that's incredible.
I like writing.
Amazing, amazing. That's cool. And yeah, I know we kind of talked about writer's block and a little bit of that, but I feel like a lot of artists they simply could not keep up with everything. The amount of songs that you're putting out, a lot of artists struggle getting there. How
Yeah.
how do you do it? How do you keep inspired to keep just banging out song after song, releasing 21 song albums, a new, off the floor 5 months later. Now you got this album coming out, another one written. How do you keep up with all of this?
Mostly, I mean, I kind of just, since the first album that was all over the place, once I decided this Lady of the Moon album was a concept album, I kind of just decided I wanted to explore that and I wanted to kind of intensely put myself into other areas that kind of inspire me. So, for example, like the album that'll come out after Lady of the Moon is all about the downtrodden and misunderstood and tragic characters in Greek mythology. So there's a whole record dedicated to that. But I also don't want to stop writing for my heart either. So when I feel something, I continue writing songs. Like I don't know how to stay inspired. I just always kind of am. I'm not sure how or why. It's just something that so intensely and naturally comes out of me. I don't know. I don't have any advice on how to stay inspired other than just to keep doing it. That's that's all I know how to say there.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap things up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk here. Before we do go, any messages for anybody watching this right now?
Um, Well, thank you for watching this interview. Thank you for stumbling upon me. And I hope that my music can touch you in any way and reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to talk to any artist. I'm happy to collab on things too. Just shoot me a message, reach out. I'm always there and always looking. So thank you so much too for taking the time to do this with me and for caring about independent artists and the music that goes out there. Your hard work does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Kailan. Yeah, really appreciate you taking the time to run us through everything coming out and cannot wait for this new album. Everybody
Thank you so
watching,
much.
we'll make sure we got links to all this and everything below. Thank you for watching. Have a great day,
Thank you
everybody.
so much.